recently there's been theories claiming that celebrities are secretly being cloned and replaced. And these theories have been around for a very long time, claiming multiple
Nicki Minaj
celebrities.
just lit the internet on fire. And this time, it's not about music, beef, or fashion. It's about something far darker. The rap queen is breaking her silence on one of hip-hop's wildest rumors. That Gucci Mane, the man we've all seen rise, fall, and rise again, might not be the same person who walked into prison years ago. According to Nicki, there's a whole hidden world behind the scenes. One that involves secret agents, handlers, and maybe even clones. It all started with a few cryptic tweets that had fans clutching their phones. Nicki hinted that the Gucci we see today might not be the real one, claiming that his so-called transformation wasn't just physical, it was orchestrated. She even dropped hints about his wife, Kawir, being more than just a supportive partner, calling her a pain handler sent to keep things under control. Within hours, social media went into complete meltdown mode. Fans were pulling up old clips, interviews and photos, comparing voices, tattoos, and even smiles, trying to figure out what Nicki really meant. Was it just another celebrity rant? Or did she actually just confirm one of the biggest conspiracies in hip-hop history? Whatever the truth is, one thing's clear: the internet won't sleep tonight. When Nicki Minaj first hinted that something was off about Gucci Mane's comeback, fans didn't know what to think. Was she being shady? Or was there really more to the story? It started as a whisper on fan pages and gossip blogs, but it quickly exploded into a full-blown conversation across the music industry. People began pulling out old footage, comparing Gucci's voice, tattoos, even the shape of his jawline. The man who came out of prison was sharper, leaner, calmer. His speech was slower, his eyes more focused. Fans who had followed his wild early years couldn't help but wonder how such a complete transformation happened overnight. Nicki's tweets didn't help calm things down either. She didn't name names at first, but the shade was clear as day. Funny how some people come out brand new. Like factory reset brand new, she wrote. Within minutes, timelines blew up. Some people thought she was just referring to Gucci's fitness glow-up, but others caught the deeper meaning. Then came the cryptic message that changed everything. Handlers don't love you, they control you. That single line sent the internet spiraling. Was Nicki implying Gucci's wife, Kawir, wasn't just his partner, but someone assigned to watch over him? Interview don't know. The story took an even darker turn when Gucci's old ex, Mac Brazy, joined in. She went live one night, sitting in a dimly lit room, eyes red and angry. "That's not Gucci," she said. "The man walking around right now is a puppet. I don't know what they did to him in there, but that ain't him." People in her comments called her crazy. Others told her to stop chasing clout, but a few started asking questions that hit too close to home. They pointed out that Gucci hadn't been seen with some of his oldest friends since his release. Certain family members weren't showing up in photos anymore either. Then came the resurfaced video from years ago of rapper Hopsin jokingly, or maybe not so jokingly, claiming he was forced to act as Gucci's clone. In the clip, he spoke about being taken to a white room, shown a Gucci suit, and told to put it on. "I thought they were messing with me," he said. "But then I realized they were dead serious." It sounded like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But when fans spliced his interview next to Gucci's early post-release appearances, the resemblance in their speech patterns and gestures sent chills down people's spines. Around this time, Nicki went completely silent online. No tweets, no Instagram stories, nothing. Fans speculated she was being silenced or maybe warned. Then, out of nowhere, she returned days later with a tweet that said, "You can change a man's body, but not his soul." That single post reignited the flames. Comments poured in, with fans begging her to clarify. "Are you saying Gucci was cloned? Nicki, blink twice if they got to him." Others begged her to stop before she got herself into trouble. Media outlets began picking up the story, turning it into a tabloid storm. One headline read, "Nicki Minaj accuses Gucci Mane's wife of being a handler," while another said, "Industry clone theory gaining traction." Suddenly, every small detail of Gucci's life became evidence. His smile seemed too perfect, his demeanor too calm, his interviews too scripted. And when Keisha appeared beside him, always holding his hand or whispering before he answered questions, fans claimed she was feeding him lines. Gucci himself eventually responded in an interview, brushing off the clone allegations with a smile. "Man, I just grew up," he said softly. "I got healthy, I changed my mindset. I'm not on the same stuff anymore." It should have been enough to calm the storm, but Nicki's followers weren't convinced. They pointed out that he avoided every question about the time gap between his sentencing and his sudden return. Even his old producer commented in an interview that Gucci's voice in the booth didn't sound the same. "It's like working with a cleaner version," he said. "Same words, different energy." Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that Nicki's accusations came from something she'd seen during a recording session years ago. According to one studio engineer, she once walked out of a meeting with Gucci looking shaken. When asked about it later, she reportedly said, "There's something not right about that man." At the time, everyone brushed it off as tension between artists, but now those words were being replayed like prophecy. The deeper fans dug, the weirder it got. Prison records started circulating online, showing inconsistencies in Gucci's release dates. Some claimed there were sealed files that couldn't be accessed by the public. Others pointed out that Gucci's tattoos didn't align perfectly anymore. People were zooming in on screenshots, comparing angles, creating whole video essays titled "The Gucci Clone Timeline." What really made the story explode again was when Nicki took another swipe during a live performance. While performing her verse from an old collab, she paused mid-bar and said, "Shout out to the real ones who didn't need replacements." The crowd screamed, half in excitement, half in confusion. The clip went viral in minutes. Blogs labeled it "the moment Nicki reignited the clone war." Keisha eventually broke her silence in an interview, clearly frustrated. "People need to stop disrespecting my husband," she said. "He's alive, he's well, he's healthy. Y'all need to stop believing internet lies." But the calm way she said it only fueled more suspicion. Comment sections were filled with lines like, "That's exactly what a handler would say." The situation spiraled when an anonymous account popped up claiming to be a former associate of the facility Gucci was held in. The account posted, "Y'all have no idea what goes on inside. Sometimes the ones who come out aren't the same who went in." No proof, no details, but enough to reignite the theory. People were now saying Gucci's sudden wealth, discipline, and media-perfect behavior weren't signs of growth. They were signs of programming. The industry's reaction was divided. Some rappers laughed it off publicly, but refused to speak about it in interviews. Others admitted, off-record, that Gucci's change was too clean to be natural. Meanwhile, Nicki continued to drop hints, never outright confirming anything, but always leaving just enough to keep people guessing. The tension between her and Keisha became obvious. When both attended the same award show, fans noticed Nicki refusing to make eye contact. During an after-party, whispers claimed there was a brief exchange between them near the bar. Someone close to the event said, Nicki leaned in and said something that made Keisha's face drop instantly before security quickly stepped in. No one heard what was said, but cameras caught the look. Sharp, cold, and final. As weeks passed, more and more people started piecing together their own versions of the truth. Some believed Nicki had stumbled onto a powerful secret the industry didn't want out. Others said she was just stirring controversy for attention. But those who'd followed her career knew Nicki didn't make wild claims unless there was something behind them. The question now wasn't whether Gucci had changed. It was how deep the change really went. The story became more than just about Gucci. Fans began revisiting other artists who had similar transformations after time away. Weight loss, speech changes, personality shifts. The conspiracy threads grew, connecting dots no one had thought to connect before. And at the center of it all stood Nicki Minaj, unbothered, almost daring anyone to call her bluff. She once said in an interview, "People think I say things for attention, but sometimes I just tell the truth too early." Those words, replayed years later, felt eerie. Maybe she really did know something. Maybe she just wanted the world to wake up. Either way, the damage was done. The internet had chosen sides, and the clone theory had officially escaped the realm of rumor. What came next would only make it harder to look away. The tension surrounding Nicki's comments didn't die down. It grew louder, more chaotic, and far more dangerous than anyone expected. For weeks, the internet was flooded with videos comparing Gucci's old interviews to his new ones, slowed down, analyzed, and overlaid with dramatic music. Every tiny detail was dissected. The way he blinked, how his jawline moved, how his voice seemed smoother, calmer, as if filtered. One viral tweet even showed side-by-side images of his tattoos, claiming the spacing between letters looked slightly different. "The body's real, but the soul's been swapped," one fan wrote, and that line started trending across all platforms. Meanwhile, Nicki's silence became the biggest noise in the room. The rap queen, usually loud and proud on social media, was suddenly quiet for nearly a week. Fans knew that when Nicki went silent, something was brewing. And they were right, because when she came back, she didn't hold back. Her first post was a close-up selfie. No caption, no emojis, just her looking dead into the camera. An hour later, she tweeted, "You can't replace real with replica. It won't function the same." The tweet spread like wildfire, hitting millions of views within hours. That same night, Gucci and Keishia were seen at an event, smiling for cameras, holding hands. But when fans zoomed in on the pictures, something caught everyone's attention. Gucci's eyes looked strange, almost glossy under the flash, reflecting an eerie metallic gleam. "Why his eyes look robotic?" one fan asked under the post. Another replied, "Because that ain't him, that's a copy." The comments section turned into a battlefield. Half of them defended Gucci, calling the theory ridiculous. The other half insisted Nicki was exposing the truth that the industry was trying to bury. The drama reached a breaking point when a leaked voice note began circulating online. In it, a woman, allegedly one of Gucci's old friends, claimed she was approached by someone offering money to stay quiet about his time in prison. She said, "They told me I didn't see what I saw. They said the Gucci that came home was fine, that I should stop asking questions. But I know my friend. That man in those pictures is not him." The voice was trembling, scared but defiant. Within hours, blogs and podcasts were dissecting every second of the audio. Nicki's name got dragged back into it again when fans noticed she liked a post about the recording. She didn't say anything, just that single like. And that was enough. Everyone knew she was co-signing the story without saying a word. People started calling her the truth teller of hip-hop, while others accused her of stirring unnecessary drama. Either way, the numbers didn't lie. Every clip mentioning her name was pulling in millions of views. Then came a shocking twist no one saw coming. Gucci's ex, Mac Brazy, who had previously claimed he was cloned, suddenly deleted all her posts and went offline. Her entire account disappeared overnight. Fans started panicking, asking where she went. One user claimed she'd posted a cryptic story minutes before vanishing. It said, "They found me." No one could confirm it, but the screenshot circulated faster than fact-checkers could react. It didn't help that a few days later, a car registered in her name was reportedly found abandoned on the outskirts of Atlanta. No official statement came out, but the silence felt louder than any confirmation could have. Nicki, meanwhile, seemed more determined than ever. she began referencing the unseen hands in her live shows. During one performance, she paused the music and said, "Some people go away to heal. Others go away to be replaced." The crowd screamed, unsure whether to take it as metaphor or message. Her eyes scanned the audience, serious, intense, and for a split second, she looked almost afraid. Media outlets started calling her paranoid. Morning talk shows mocked the story, playing clips of her statements with laugh tracks in the background. But every time they tried to discredit her, the audience seemed to grow more convinced that something real was happening. One independent journalist even launched a mini-documentary titled "Who Replaced Gucci Mane?", interviewing old associates, recording engineers, and fans who'd met him before and after prison. One engineer said, "His energy is different. It's not bad, just hollow, like he's going through the motions." By this point, the industry couldn't ignore it anymore. Major labels, managers, and even radio hosts were tiptoeing around the subject. No one wanted to be the next to accidentally say too much. Rumors spread that Nicki had received multiple calls warning her to move carefully. Insiders claimed she'd increased her security detail and stopped attending certain high-profile events. People close to her said she felt watched, even during private dinners. One night, paparazzi caught her leaving a studio looking tense. When a reporter shouted, "Nicki, do you really believe Gucci was cloned?" She stopped, turned, and said softly, "Believe what you see, not what they show you." It was the kind of quote that could make or break careers. Within minutes, it was everywhere. The clip played on repeat, her tone calm but her eyes heavy. Meanwhile, Gucci posted a short clip on his page showing him and Keisha laughing, captioned, "Living my best life." But even that didn't stop the narrative. People said the laugh didn't sound natural, that his smile didn't reach his eyes. Someone even slowed the video down and claimed they heard a mechanical hum in the background. Comments flooded in with lines like, "He's trying too hard to prove he's human," and "Nicki was right all along." The situation turned even stranger when an anonymous account claiming to be from inside the music industry began posting alleged documents about an experimental rehab program for celebrities. The files were vague, with words like personality restructuring, behavioral realignment, and image preservation project. No official source confirmed their authenticity, but people connected the dots. The timeline of Gucci's imprisonment lined up perfectly with the dates mentioned. Conspiracy channels had a field day. Nicki, however, wasn't laughing. During an Instagram Live, she told fans, "Y'all need to understand that what you think is entertainment sometimes isn't. Sometimes it's a warning." She didn't elaborate, but the tone of her voice was serious, steady, almost protective. She ended the live abruptly after saying, "They don't want me talking about this." It was the kind of moment that made viewers sit in silence even after the stream ended. By now, what started as gossip had grown into a cultural phenomenon. Everywhere you looked, people were debating the Gucci clone theory. Podcasts were dedicating full episodes, YouTubers were making breakdowns, and fans were uploading side-by-side analysis videos. Gucci's camp tried to keep up appearances, posting gym selfies, interviews, and music snippets, but the comments were brutal. "Bring back the real Gucci," one wrote. Another said, "This man moves like he's remote-controlled." The craziest part? Gucci himself seemed to acknowledge it in subtle ways. During a live Q&A, someone asked him about the clone rumors, and he smirked before replying, "Maybe I just upgraded." It was meant as a joke, but the way he said it, the pause before the smile, made it sound like he wasn't entirely joking. At this stage, lines were blurring between truth and fiction. Nicki had said too much to take it back, and Gucci's mysterious demeanor wasn't helping. Fans were obsessed, media couldn't look away, and the industry was holding its breath. And beneath it all, there was a strange, creeping sense that maybe the music world wasn't as glamorous or as human as everyone once believed. The buzz around the clone theory had turned into something much bigger. It wasn't just about Gucci anymore. It was about power, control, and how deep the industry's secrets really ran. People began connecting Nicki's earlier warnings to other strange celebrity transformations, and the narrative took on a life of its own. Podcasts, fan forums, and even major gossip pages started posting timelines, with arrows, red circles, and theories about how Gucci's supposed replacement might have been part of a wider system to clean up artists and make them more compliant. Nicki Minaj found herself at the center of a storm she couldn't escape. Her followers called her brave, saying she was exposing something dangerous. Others accused her of losing her grip on reality. Still, Nicki didn't back down. She tweeted, "They clean up the ones who talk too much, then they call it growth." Within an hour, it had been shared over 500,000 times. Her words hit a nerve. Everyone remembered how Gucci's outbursts before prison had seemed uncontrolled, raw, even chaotic. Then suddenly, the new Gucci was calm, corporate-friendly, media-trained. It didn't feel like the same man who once bragged about being too wild to be tamed. A few days later, a journalist known for digging into celebrity scandals claimed he'd been contacted by someone close to Gucci's old team. The anonymous source allegedly said there was a program inside the facility where Gucci had served time. According to the source, certain inmates were selected for psychological and behavioral reconstruction under a rehabilitation initiative backed by unnamed investors. There were no official records, but they insisted Gucci had been part of it. The journalist's article was taken down within 24 hours. Nicki's fans, though, had already archived it, spreading screenshots everywhere. "They're trying to silence the truth," one comment read. Others said Nicki was now being watched. When she canceled an appearance at an award show without explanation, the internet went wild, speculating she'd been threatened. In the meantime, Gucci posted a video of himself in the studio. It should have felt normal, but there was something unnerving about it. His movements were stiff, his voice almost too perfect, too rehearsed. When fans pointed it out, Keisha responded in the comments, writing, "Y'all sound crazy. He's right here, healthy, working, happy." But the calmness of her tone only made people more suspicious. One fan replied, "Of course a handler would say that." A week later, Nicki appeared on an Instagram Live again. She didn't say Gucci's name, but everyone knew who she meant. She looked tired, her voice lower than usual. "Sometimes the real ones disappear and the copies stay," she said softly. "They think we don't notice, but the energy don't lie." For a few seconds, she just stared into the camera, and then she smiled in a way that didn't look like her usual confidence. It looked like resignation. "You can't silence the truth," she whispered, before ending the live abruptly. After that, things began to spiral. Fans started posting about strange coincidences. One claimed that Gucci's old cellmate had gone missing. Another said his original mugshot had vanished from an online database. Someone even uploaded a slowed-down version of a recent Gucci interview, saying his voice glitched mid-sentence, most likely editing errors. But by now, the theory had momentum. Even logic couldn't stop it. At a radio interview weeks later, a host tried to bring it up in a light-hearted way, asking Gucci, "So, clone or not, man? What's the truth?" Gucci laughed, but didn't answer right away. He leaned forward, looked directly into the camera, and said, "Believe what you want. Maybe I'm version 2. The laughter in the room died almost instantly. The host tried to play it off as a joke, but the damage was done. That single quote went viral, spreading faster than anything else he'd ever said. Nicki stayed quiet for almost a month after that, which only made fans more anxious. People began claiming she had vanished or gone into hiding. In reality, she was still recording, still posting brand deals, but none of that mattered to her followers. They wanted answers. Finally, she returned to Twitter late one night with a post that simply read, "He wasn't supposed to joke about it." Nothing else. No context, no tags. The internet erupted all over again. By now, the situation had taken on a surreal quality. Celebrities who had nothing to do with the story started getting dragged in. One producer said during an interview that the rumors were ridiculous, but then added, "You never really know what they do to people in those places." It was meant to dismiss the theory, but it sounded like confirmation to conspiracy-minded fans. Behind the scenes, several insiders claimed Nicki had received calls asking her to move on from the topic. Apparently, she refused. "If it's not real," she reportedly told one of them, "then why are you so scared of me talking about it?" Her defiance only made her fans more loyal. They began referring to her as the whistleblower of hip-hop, making edits of her face beside black and white images of Gucci with eerie captions like, "The truth has a sound, and she's singing it." The media circus hit another peak when Keishia posted a new set of photos showing Gucci with their family. The images were warm, domestic, filled with smiles. But people still found something unsettling in them. A fan slowed down one video and claimed Gucci blinked horizontally instead of vertically. Another said his pupils seemed to dilate at unnatural speeds under light. Logical explanations, camera shutter speeds, compression artifacts, but to the online community, it was proof. The situation took an even darker tone when an old interview resurfaced where Gucci had once said, "The only person who ever saw the real me was me before the change." Back then, it sounded like a metaphor about growth. Now, fans replayed it as evidence that he was confessing the truth all along. Nicki's circle reportedly began noticing strange things. Her calls dropping, equipment failing mid-recording, cars following her from studios. In one leaked clip from a studio session, she can be heard saying, "They don't like me talking about him, but I'm not scared." Her producer can be heard replying, "You should be." The clip cut off after that, but the tone was serious, tense. It got to the point where fans started organizing online movements under hashtags like "Where is the Nicki?" and "Did you bring back real Gucci?" People flooded Gucci's comment sections with questions, tagging Nicki, begging her to speak again. For days, she didn't. Then suddenly, she posted an image of a chessboard with the caption, "Game still on." It was enough to send her fan base into overdrive. Everyone interpreted it differently. Some thought she was hinting she was being strategic. Others said it meant the truth hadn't yet come out. A week later, a strange clip began circulating online. It appeared to be Gucci speaking at a private event, surrounded by men in suits. He was talking about self-improvement and redemption, but when the camera zoomed in, his movements glitched. Just for a second, his hand seemed to blur unnaturally, like a frame had skipped. The person filming was quickly pulled away by security. The clip was short and grainy, but it was all the confirmation conspiracy theorists needed. The rumor that Nicki had been blacklisted started shortly after. Some claimed her projects were being delayed or quietly pulled from promotion. Her fans fought back by trending her name daily, demanding transparency. It was chaos. Digital, emotional, endless. Through it all, Nicki didn't back down. She appeared on Live again, her tone colder than before. "They can silence anyone," she said, "but you can't hide the truth forever." She didn't mention Gucci, but everyone knew. The comment section exploded, filled with fire emojis, shocked reactions, and heart emojis from loyal fans as the live ended. She looked straight into the camera, whispered, "Watch who you clap for," and disappeared from the screen. That night, her followers swore they heard static in the background of the stream before it cut off completely. No one knew if it was technical or intentional, but it felt like a warning. By now, the world wasn't sure what was real anymore. Was it all coincidence? Or had Nicki stumbled into something she was never meant to uncover? People kept digging, finding connections that blurred the line between gossip and truth. And in that blur, the legend of the Gucci clone became untouchable. Too viral, too mysterious, too dangerous to ever be proven or denied. After weeks of silence, Nicki finally reappeared, and her presence alone reignited every headline, every rumor, every conspiracy that had been simmering since her last live. She posted a single video, sitting alone in a dimly lit room, wearing no makeup, her expression calm but heavy. There was no background music, no theatrics, just her voice, low and deliberate. "People laugh until it's too late," she said softly. "You think I do this for clout? I do it because I've seen what happens when people stay quiet." Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Blogs reposted it with captions like, "Nicki speaks again," and "The Queen returns with another warning." Fans flooded the comments, begging her to clarify, while others told her to stop before she got herself into trouble. The reaction from the industry was almost immediate. Several major pages that had been covering the story suddenly deleted their posts. Podcasts that had spent weeks discussing the clone theory stopped mid-series without explanation. One host even said during a stream, "We got a call. It's bigger than we thought." After that, their channel went quiet. But the silence only made the internet louder. People started compiling lists of everyone who'd mysteriously stopped talking about Gucci after mentioning the topic. And once again, all eyes turned to Nicki. A few days later, Gucci and Keisha were seen leaving a studio, smiling for cameras. Everything about them looked perfectly normal, until fans noticed a small, almost invisible scar running along the side of Gucci's neck, something that hadn't been there before. It was faint, but high-definition photos caught it. Conspiracy accounts went wild, claiming it looked like a surgical mark. Keisha's calm smile in those same photos became part of the narrative too. "Handlers always make sure their product is well maintained," one fan wrote. The comment was harsh, but it had thousands of likes. Nicki's next move shocked everyone. She appeared in an interview, her first since the controversy exploded. The host tried to steer clear of the rumors, but Nicki took control of the conversation. She leaned forward and said, "You ever notice how some people come back from disappearing, and suddenly they're perfect? Too perfect?" The host tried to laugh it off, but she didn't smile. "Some of y'all don't understand what really happens when you sign things you don't read," she added. The studio went quiet. The clip hit the internet within hours, and by the next day, it had over 20 million views. Around the same time, an old audio clip surfaced online. It was Gucci's voice, or at least it sounded like his. In it, he talked about feeling disconnected from himself. "Sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't recognize who I am," he said. The file was dated from shortly after his release. Whether it was real or edited didn't matter. People believed what they wanted to believe. And for the believers, it was proof that the transformation hadn't been natural. What made everything even stranger was the sudden shift in Gucci's social media tone. He began posting long, almost poetic captions about self-discovery, rebirth, and becoming something greater. Fans said it didn't sound like him. "This isn't the same Gucci who made Trap House," one user wrote. "This sounds like someone trying to remember who they're supposed to be." Nicki, meanwhile, seemed to grow more reflective than defiant. She posted less but chose her words carefully. One tweet read, "I never said he was gone. I said he changed. There's a difference." It sent her fan base into chaos again. Was she backtracking? Clarifying? Or was she hinting that the truth was deeper than cloning? That it was about control, image, and ownership of identity? Then came the most unexpected twist. A short clip leaked from a closed-door label meeting. In it, someone, whose voice fans swore sounded like a major executive, said, "The narrative's out of control. Contain it or bury it." The authenticity was never confirmed, but that didn't matter. People were convinced it was connected. In the following days, Gucci was spotted acting more like his old self again, smiling wider, joking more, even teasing fans about the rumors. "Yeah, I got replaced by a better version," he said on stage, laughing. The crowd laughed too, but Nicki's fans noticed something. While Gucci was laughing, Keisha's smile didn't reach her eyes. The line between truth and performance had completely vanished by now. Entire online communities were split into camps. Those who believed Nicki was exposing a real system, and those who thought she was fueling mass hysteria. But even the skeptics couldn't deny how strange the timeline looked. The missing people, the sudden silences, the perfect comebacks. It felt orchestrated, and Nicki's refusal to back down only made her seem more fearless. The most haunting part came during one of her final lives on the topic. She said, "Maybe it's not about cloning. Maybe it's about erasing who someone was and rebuilding them into what the world wants." It wasn't loud, it wasn't theatrical. It was quiet, honest, and heavy. "And maybe," she added, "some people are okay being rebuilt, as long as they still shine." She paused, then ended with, "But not everyone shines the same." After that, she never mentioned Gucci again. Still, fans didn't let the story die. Months later, people were still dissecting every move, every post, every lyric from both of them. Interviews were slowed down, quotes analyzed, voices compared. The theory had become bigger than either artist. It had turned into a symbol of mistrust between fans and the industry. Some say Nicki was just being dramatic. Others believe she was trying to protect someone or warn everyone. No one knows for sure, but the echoes of her words still linger online, resurfacing every time an artist makes a suspicious comeback or a too-perfect transformation. In the end, Gucci Mane kept making music. Nicki kept being Nicki. The world moved on, but the internet never forgot. And every once in a while, when Gucci smiles in an interview or Nicki posts something cryptic, that same old question floods the comments again. Did she ever lie? Or did she just tell a truth we weren't ready to believe? So after everything that's come out, the rumors, the interviews, the tweets, the live streams, and those strange coincidences, you have to admit, this story feels like something straight out of a movie. Did Nicki really stumble onto something the world wasn't supposed to see? Or is this just another case of the internet running wild with speculation? One thing's for sure, nothing in this entire situation feels simple anymore. Gucci's transformation, Nicki's warnings, Keisha's calm defense. Every piece adds another layer to a mystery that refuses to fade. And maybe that's what keeps everyone talking. Because deep down, we all love a story that feels too unbelievable to be true, yet somehow too detailed to ignore. Nicki might have moved on. Gucci might be living his life, but the questions are still out there, echoing across timelines and comment sections. What really happened during those 2 years? What changed? And, more importantly, who's telling the truth? Now it's your turn. What do you think really went down behind the scenes? Was Nicki trying to warn us? Or did she just get caught up in an internet storm she couldn't control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's see where the majority stands. Don't forget to hit that like button if you were hooked till the end. And subscribe for more wild entertainment breakdowns, celebrity mysteries, and viral moments that make you question everything you thought you knew about fame. Stay tuned, because the next story might just be even crazier than this one.